Okay, let's start. So, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to AZ 800 technical event. My name is Robin, and I'm delivering this training program. So, last 2 days we were discussing about cloud fundamentals, and we understood the concept about hybrid cloud computing. So, yesterday we concluded, and we have completed a couple of topics called Assure Bastion Service, and we have seen how Bastion in Assure environment. Now, today's talk is about DHCP because there are two scenarios we were discussing yesterday. The first scenario was about how VM can be configured or how system can be configured in a on-premises scenarios. Second scenario was about how this can be configured in a on-premises side. This was the two scenarios we have considered. Let me go back to the whiteboard. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. I hope all of you can screen the whiteboard now, right? If you can just confirm through the chat window, that'd be good. Because as I said, I'm facing some technical issue with my primary laptop, and it's been working with the secondary one. So just want to ensure you are able to see the presentations and or you're able to see the whiteboard. Okay, I got a confirmation. Yes, whiteboard has been visible. So thank you, team. So we were trying to understand two scenarios here. What was the first scenario? The first scenario was how to create an VM or how to create a server in a on-premises one. So this all of us understood. Like in case if I need to if I need to use a server in a on-premises, generally all of us are taking a server or a box. It can be from a Cisco or it can be from IBM or it's been Dell or any vendor, right? And on top of that, with the help of a hypervisor or with the help of a or directly you are installing the operating system, correct? So on top of that, you are installing an operating system. Now, when it is coming to a cloud scenarios, in cloud scenarios, we understood like this generally it's been configured in a um, regions or in a data center where you're installing an operating system and backend the cloud service provider is using a virtualization technology. Now, yesterday we have seen it's been how VM is created. So yesterday we have seen like how VM is been created on a Azure side, and we have seen about a topic about how to connect to this VM also. Now, yesterday we understood there are two more terminologies or there are two more concepts here. What was the concept? Because whenever any VM is being created on a Microsoft Azure side, there is a two IP addresses being created by default. One is a public IP address. What was the other one? It's called a private IP address. Now, in your on-premises scenarios also, if you are using a laptop or a server or it's been any workstation, all of us know if I need to use that device, if I need to use the infrastructure, what is the purpose generally we are using? This is basically using for a communication or a data exchange. If I need to do any kind of a data exchange, I need a proper network. Without a network, I won't be able to do any kind of a data exchange or won't be able to do any kind of a data communication. How data communication can be possible in an infrastructure? So you need a proper network. So all of us know if I need to make a networking, there are a lot of components was involved, right? Now, if you're taking your on-premises one, you may be already knowing that you need a hub, you need a switch, you need a router. What else you need? Can you just comment it on the chat window? Now, I typed three components. Can you type the balance list of the components? Let me know. Let me see like what are the your views on this topic. Like if I need to, okay, your views on yeah, we need a firewall. Okay, Sandesh was saying like we need a firewall. Any other thought from anyone? Load balancers. Okay. Okay, so I just got yes, we need IDS or HP. We need uh, IPS. There are a lot of components. Basically, moving other than this IDS or a load balancer or a firewall, the basic component is been IP address, right? Without IP and address, you will not be able to do any kind of a communication. I hope you're agreeing with this point, right? So we need an IP address. Now, how this IP address is being configured in India? So if I are using a cloud VM or if you are using a on-premises VM or if you use any network devices on in any of this infrastructure, its IP address is mandatory. Whether you use load balancers, whether you use a firewall, or whether you use Azure firewall, whether you use a gateway, IP address is a mandatory component. I hope everyone has been agreeing with this point, right? Yes. So Simon also it's been joined. Good morning, Simon. Yes. So IP address is a mandatory one. Now, who will be providing this IP address? That's the next question. Now, you take a scenario. Now, you are responsible for assigning an IP address. So in your college days or your office day-to-day operations, you already came to know that you have a class B, you have a class A, you have a class C or a class D or a class E. There are different classification of IP addresses been available. Now my question is, or you may be aware that there is a IP version 4 or a IP version 6 is been available. Now who will be providing this one? Now in a cloud scenario, in a Azure cloud scenario, we understood like there is a public IP address has been available and you're getting a private IP address also. So yesterday we found private IP address is a free resource and public IP address is a costly resource. There is a pricing is there and we need to pay the money to Microsoft. So Microsoft has been assigning an IP address to public IP address. So IP address is the public IP address has been provided by the Microsoft. Now with the help of a public IP address, you can able to do all kind of external communication because whatever IP address you are using on in the public IP address, this is a routable one. So that's been clear to all of us here. Now the point here is been like with a public IP address, you are able to communicate to external world. What about the internal communication? Now you are working in a company called orange.com. There you have a 5,000 computers are available. Now your boss is coming and saying like, hey Robin, go and uh, configure IP address to 5,000 computer. Charita, what you will do if you are in this kind of a situation? Now Charita is being responsible for this. Now Charita, if you are in my place, what is the options available in front of you? Okay, Sandesh is saying DHCP. Charita, what is your opinion on this? We will install a DHCP. Okay, good. Now, okay, so Sarita is not heard about this terminology, no problem. Now, we have a three scenario, we have a 3 points we need to discuss here. One, it's been like Sandesh and few people are, it's been Okay, Sandesh, Sarita, I was asking, we are in a customer place. Now, customer is saying like, Charita, you are responsible for assigning an IP address to 5,000 computer. There is a 5,000 resources are there, and we need to assign an IP address. So your boss told like you need to assign an IP address. So just want to know how this can be possible. So DHCP is the one option. Yes, we got a few answers like DHCP can be the one option for this activity. Now let's try to understand how this has been possible. Now there are three scenarios I would like to consider here. One, it's like we will try to understand use of a DHCP. Second one, we'll try to see how DHCP can be used in a on-premises side, how Azure this is been using, and we'll try to understand different configurations about the DHCP one. So these are the topics I would like to cover it today. Now, let me share my screen. Let me share the presentations here. So we got a few answers here. So DHCP can be an option for this kind of scenarios. So let me share my screen. I mean, my primary laptop also it's been back because that blue Teams crashed and that's been recovered now. So let me log in the Teams also meanwhile. Just give me a second. So it's been easy for me to monitor these chats, everything. Just give me a second. Give me a second for switching to my primary laptop because today morning was a bit crazy. It's like when I log in, Teams is loaded and it's been entered in a crashed mode. So I'm just loading in the secondary one. Just give me a second. Surag, you can make me the my primary D as a host now. So system is being back. System is back. Hi, hello. Yeah, I've been connected to switch to my primary one. I think Charida, your laptop also it's been crashed. Okay, sorry to hear that. So let me share the screen on the primary monitor. I hope you can see it now. Okay, so we were discussing about a topic called DHCP. Now we understood. So DHCP can be one option here. So let's try to understand what is a DHCP here. So we are trying to understand a couple of points here. We'll try to understand what is a DHCP first, because people told like it's a dynamic host configuration protocol, or it's been can be used for assigning a automatic private IP address. We got few options here. Now let's try to understand how this can be used in a production scenario. The first point here, it's been like you are in a customer place. I'm just giving a scenario to you, like whatever examples I given, like you are in a customer place and the customer asked us to assign an IP address. So there are two methods can be used here. One is called a manual IP address, right? So all of us know, like you can go to network card properties. There you can manually you can enter an IP address. That generally known as static IP address or a manual IP address, right? All of us may be already knowing, right? If when you go to a network card connections, like type a command code ncpa.cpl and entering this one into a network card properties, where you have getting a provision or a flexibility to give a IP address in IP version 6 or IP version 4. So that's the one option. Now, in case if you're using a manual IP address, how generally it's been done? We need to go behind each and every device and manually we need to type, it's been like 192.168.0.1 or a 10.0.0.1 manually. Charida or Sandesh or it's been Abdul, we need to go and do it, right? This method is okay if you have only one or maximum 20 or 25 systems. Now you think a scenario where you have a 5,000 computers are there. Now, going and entering this IP address manually, practically this is not going to work out. It may take a days or it may take a hours also, right? Now, yes, if there is a 5,000, it's not possible. If possible, it may take some time, right? Daily, I can able to go in the 200 and relax and next day balance 200. Possible, but it may take time, right? Your boss is will tell like, hey, Chaitanya, what is the status? You can tell like, hey, I completed only 200 or 300, right? Yeah. So it takes time. So time consuming. Second point, it's been like you think a scenario, it's been like, hey, it's been Charita has been doing a hard work in the late evening also it's been doing. So there is a chance of misconfiguration also, right? Instead of 192, in a hurry burry or in a uh, you decide like, hey, today I'll finish this task. Let me do it in very fast. So you or when we are doing this kind of a situation, there is a chance of human errors also, right? Instead of 192, uh, you may give 191. Hi sir, there is no sound. I think sound is been working because I can hear on the secondary monitor, right? I think Hamil, you can you just reconnect, rejoin it? There are some situation this team is having this issue, or you can check your VPN connection also. I can, because in my secondary monitor I can see the screen and audios also. So I think look like it's an issue with your side. Now I was discussing about a scenario of a DHCP here. So there is a chance of a human errors also. So in case manually if you are entering instead of 192, there is a chance of giving 191 or 169 or some different IP address. So that may lead network outages, right? So customer or the client will tell, hey Robin, this is not working. I'm not able to connect to my server. I'm not able to connect to my file server, or I'm not able to work into um, connect with your print servers. This kind of issues will come. And there are some situation. Now I have a 5,000 computer. You may be assigned an IP address, or you may be reserved an IP address to one particular device or a particular person. Now, there are chances of that resource may be resigning, or that resources maybe is moving from that department to another department. Now, it's been very difficult for me to keep a track of this, who is using this one. One option is been like, I may have to maintain an Excel sheet. Daily morning, I need to go behind on each computer. Then I need to check, hey, whether this IP address is been using. So manually, I need to do a track of all these things. So it's been very difficult for me, or it's been very difficult for the admin who has been doing this also. So this was the situation in the past. Now, for avoiding this one, there is a service which we can able to use in a network infrastructure that is known as DHCP. So that's called DHCP. Expansion for this is called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Don't think DHCP is a proprietary service of a Microsoft. No, because DHCP you can able to see in all the network devices. Right now, you may be connected from your home, or you may be connected from your office. So in case if you're connected from your home, you may be connected to the Wi-Fi device, right? So how you are getting an internet? You may be connected a RJ45 cable, or you may be connected a Wi-Fi on your laptop, right? When the moment when you connected uh, internet to your Wi-Fi, either it's on a mobile or it's been on a laptop, automatically your network device, that means your the Wi-Fi access point, is given an IP address to you, right? In case if you have a doubt, go to the command prompt and type a command called IP config. You may be able to see there is an IP address is being released by your access point. Now, if you're connected from your office, the moment you've been connected to office Wi-Fi, the moment you connected to the IO port or the RJ45 on your laptop, you got an IP address from your office. Whatever IP address schema your office is using, the same network IP address is being got. How this is been getting? This is being getting with the help of a service called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. That's called DHCP. So this is been, what is the purpose of a DHCP here? So DHCP is a network service. What is the primary purpose of a DHCP? He is been, or DHCP is been responsible for managing the IP address, or DHCP has been responsible for automatic release of an IP address. I hope it's been clear to you now. Any question from anyone? How this has been releasing and how this has been configuring, we will discuss in the next slide. This concept has been clear now. If you're good, can you comment it on the chat window? Yes. So now let's try to understand how this can be configured. Now we understood DHCP is a service. With the help of that, we are responsible, or we can able to assign, or we can able to configure a DHCP. So we can able to release the IP address. Now let's try to understand this. Now the first point right now we understood, it's been like, with the help of a DHCP, it's help us to reduce the complexity of our work. Uh, Because previously myself or Charida or Sandesh or Frawaz or Ralph, or it's been, or Damin, we were, it's been going behind each system and we are doing this one. Yes, there is a screen share. We are sharing a presentation. So in case if you are not able to see this one, can you just rejoin and try? Maybe Teams, I think, look like there is morning onwards some issue is going on. So if you can rejoin, you may be able to see this one. Now, the first point we understood, it's been like after implementing the service is easy for us to, or it's been reducing the complexity of the work which we are doing. How this has been reducing? Because automatically this has been supplying, or automatically this has been releasing an IP address to here. Now, with the help of DHCP, we are getting a couple of other benefits also. One, it's been like in a automatic, in the static IP address, we understood like there is a manual errors or a human errors was happening. So that has been avoided. It's avoiding here because as a admin, I'm configuring a pool of IP address in the my DHCP server. Now we understood DHCP is assigning an IP address. How this has been assigning? It's based on the instruction, or it's based on the configuration the admin has been doing on in a DHCP service. So if I need to release an IP address, the first task as an admin, what I will do, I'll define a pool of IP address in my DHCP service, saying that, hey DHCP, you are responsible for releasing an IP address to my network. Now, if anyone has been connecting to you asking an IP address, give an IP address from this port. So as an admin, I'll be giving all this configuration inside a DHCP service. I'll tell you how this can be configured. Right now, end of this class or end of this slide, you need to understand DHCP is the service who has been responsible for releasing an IP address. How this has been releasing? This has been releasing from a pool where the IP address is being configured by an admin. What is the advantage you are getting? This is like the advantage is been like there is a less chance of a human errors here, because this has been automatically this is assigning from a pool. Now, how this IP address is being released? This IP address will be given only for a particular time. That is known as a lease duration. This is not giving a permanent voice. Now, when you're using an IP address in a static or a manual method, you are entering the IP address on the system. Now, that IP address is something like a permanent kind of thing. As long as if you are not making any modification on the system, that IP address will be valid, or that will be assigned to that, or that IP address will be reserved to that computer or a device only. Now, in case if you are not making any modification, always that IP address will be reserved for that device. Now, in a DHCP case, is not like that. In a DHCP case, this IP address will be reserved, or this IP address will be given for a particular time only. Now, after that particular time, this is something like your driving license, right? All of us may be having a driving license. Like now, if you take your driving license, it's having a validity of, or if you take a passport, that passport is having a validity, right? Like you have a what 15 years or a 20 years. Now, before that, you need to renew that one, right? Same concept here also. This IP address is given for a particular time. In case if you're not reviewing that day, that IP address will be expired, and the next day onwards, that IP address will be given to another person. Clear? So I hope all are clear about the benefits, at least the basic concept of a DHCP now. Now, Charity has been posted a couple of questions or some comments on the chat. Let me review that. It is the amount of the time which the IP address is available after that. Yes, exactly. I agree with your point. Now let's try to understand that part. I think, Rav, I hope your issue has been solved. I hope you are able to see the screen now. In case if you are not able to see this one, you can disconnect and rejoin back. Yes, okay, this issue has been solved. Okay. Now let's try to understand how DHCP has been working. Now, I may be using a couple of terminologies here. One is called, the first terminology is called DHCP database. Now we understood DHCP is a service that we need to install it. So this has been available inside your Wi-Fi access point. Now in a OS point or in a Microsoft OS side, if I need to use this one, this is being installed as a role. There is a, you may be heard, you may be already worked on a Windows servers. There is a two concept we have that's called roles and features. So DHCP is a role. By default, this role is being not installed on any of the server operating system. If you're taking Windows Server 2022 or a 2019 or a 2016, or even though if in olden days 2003 or a 2008, By default in an operating system, DHCP services by default it's not, it's gone, because the reason you may be already knowing that's called, the concept is known as a role based installation. Instead of installing all features and roles on a Microsoft server, always Microsoft is preferring based on the customer requirement, they can customize their server. That's the reason this is known as a role-based installation. So based on if the customer is want the server, if they want to make it as a DHCP server, they can enable the DHCP service. If they want to make it a mm, if they want to make it a, DNS or Active Directory, they can have option to install other services also. Now, this is the way it's been configured. So now, right now, we understood if you want to use it, a DHCP service on in Microsoft servers, it's been like we need to install the DHCP service. Now, when you are installing a DHCP service or when you are installing a DHCP role on a Microsoft server, there will be a database is been created for you that generally known as DHCP database. So there will be a database will be created. Inside that database, all the information or all the configuration or whatever IP address has been released or managed or renews or logs related to DHCP, everything will be created or it's been saved inside a DHCP database. So the point is mean like the moment when you install a DHCP service, the moment when you install a configure a DHCP role on a Microsoft Windows server, whether if you take a any of the operating system, it's been there is a database is it's been configured. It's been DHCP database is been created by default. This has been created inside a root folder. What do you mean root folder? Root folder is generally like a C colon Windows folder, right? By default, this has been created inside a C colon Windows. By default, most of the situation, operating system will be hosted inside a C drive in your server. So it's been this folder also, it's been created inside a Windows folder. There will be a created a folder called DHCP. So there will be a folder will be created DHCP. Right now, you don't need to worry about this because after the DHCP installation, I will show you how this has been created. End of the session or end of the slide right now, you need to understand after the installation of a DHCP server on a Microsoft OS, there is a database has been created and that database has been responsible for managing all DHCP related activities. Now, there are some situation, some organization may be using a multiple DHCP servers also. If multiple DHCP server is coming in a organization, how to handle that, I'll be discussing in a later point. Now there is a two terminologies been coming here. One is called as a lease generation and second one is called lease renewal also. Let's try to understand what is a lease generation and let's try to understand lease renewal also. Now I'm just giving a scenario here. Right now you may be able to see there are two DHCP servers being hosted in my network. Right now you can able to see there are two DHCPs there and I have seen it's been um, couple of a couple of we couple of clients also you will be able to see here, right? So you have a couple of clients also. Now let's try to understand how this is been working. Now you are in a customer place. Now if the customer is looking for an IP address, now how generally this is being done? Generally you will go to a network card and you will be able to go to a network card properties. One second, I'll show you that how this has been working. Let me take a network card. Give me a second. I'm just typing a password on my network card. Can all of us can type a command in your run? Can you just go to your run and type a command called ncpa.cpl? You may be entered into a window that's called Ethernet communication, right? So that's called, if you can able to see here, ncpa.cpl is the in your run. If you're typing a command, you may be getting a screen like this, right? I hope you can see my screen now, right? Right now, you may be able to see like when you type a command called ncpa.cpl or in your network connection, generally we used to type you will be getting a screen like you will be getting an Ethernet. So the moment you selected DHCP version 4, you may be able to see there is an option called properties, and generally you are getting a two options here, right? The moment you select here, one it's been like obtain IP address automatically, and the second option is was like use the following IP address. So this is the second option. It's been like in case if I need to configure any kind of IP address manually, we used to type it here. Now I'm saying here, you have in a customer place, you selecting the first option that called obtain IP address automatically. Let's see if you're typing this obtain IP address automatically. What is the process generally happening? Any idea? Now, the moment you typing a command or you type the option called obtain IP address automatically, you are sending a request to the network, right? The moment when you type a IP address, obtain IP address automatically, this will send a packet. What is the packet here? Now, the moment, I hope you can see the screen now because I switched. Yes, yes, that is called DORA process. You may be seen it. It's very easy for you to remember because in your home, if you have any kids available in a home, there is a DORA cartoon is here, right? So you can remember this process is been DORA one. So the moment you press the obtain IP address automatically, this will send a broadcast packet. Right now, you can able to see in the scene. It's sending a packet to everyone in the network saying that, hey, this is Robin Mission. I'm looking for a IP address. So this will be sending a discover packet. What is the packet name here? That's called DHCP discover packet. You can just, if you want, you can note down. The packet name is known as DHCP discover packet. And the entire process, what is the process name? The process name is known as a lease generation. What is the purpose is doing here? I'm trying to show you how DHCP has been working in your network. So that's a process is known as a lease generation. How the IP address you are getting, it's been getting a concept or it's with the help of a concept called DORA. So the first packet, that D stands for DHCP discover packet now, right? So the point or the process, if you can remember with a term called DORA, because if you're studying electronics classes, right, it's like you may be remembered register color code with a short term, right? BB Roy of a Great Britain has a great, very good wife, right? Similar way, you can remember this is with a concept called DORA. What is the DORA is doing? The moment when you type an obtain IP address automatically, it's sending a discover packet to the entire network saying that, hey, computer, is there any DHCP has been available in the network? Give me an IP address to me. Who has been responsible for giving an IP address here? Can you comment on the chat? Because right now you can have, you can see here, this workstation also getting this workstation also getting a request. This person also is getting a request. This person also getting this also here. This is something like Robin has been completed degree and sending a resume to everyone in the world. Now, now if you're sending a resume to your friend will tell, hey, I'm a normal employee. I don't have any rights to give a job, right? I may forward, I'll do a employee referral in my organization. Only HR can do that, right? I hope you are agreeing with this one. So the packet name is known as a DHCP discover. Now, right now you can able to see the packet is being doing as a broadcast only. You maybe heard about a couple of terms. It's called broadcast or a unique cast, or you maybe heard about a multiple communication mechanism in your college days, multicast, broadcast, and a unicast. Now, broadcast means that entire network this packet will reach, but this packet will go up to router only. Okay, it will go up to router only, because I'm just giving a scenario for your information, because I have a two network. This is network A and this is its network B. Now here 1,000 computer is being connected here. This computer B, this all are computer. Okay, I'm not a good drawer, so this all are it's been a VMware workstation or it's been normal workstation. Now if there is a this all it's been connected using a router. Now there is a client who is sending a DHCP client request. So this broadcast packet will go only inside this network only. Because when this packet is been coming here, because if I need to go to this network, there is a this is the gate, right? That's called a router. By default, all routers are blocked multicast packet or a broadcast packet. If there is any broadcast is coming to router now, if you're sending a request here, and if this packet is been coming to broadcast, router will say, okay, Robin, I understood like you don't have a job or you don't have an IP address, but I am a router here. I will not allow any broadcast to go outside this one. Yes, the broadcast has been segregates different this one. In case if the packet wants to go outside, we need to enable some couple of feature inside that. That I'll be discussing that later point. Right now, end of this class, you need to understand the moment you press the obtain IP address automatically, this has been sending a packet that's called DHCP discover packet. Any question from anyone? In case if you have any doubt, you can post it on the chat window. Otherwise, we'll be moving to the next option. Now, the packet name is known as a DHCP discover packet. How this DHCP discover packet will be here? Now, if you're taking the packet, if you're opening this packet, right? If you're from a network member, so if you're opening a packet, your source IP will be inside the packet. Your source IP address will be 0.0.0.0. Why the IP address is a 0.0 here? Because I don't have any IP address here, right? So that's the reason if you're opening that discover packet, your source IP address will be 0.0.0.0. And what is the destination IP address? Your destination IP address, I don't know who is my DHCP server, and this is a broadcast packet. So your destination IP address will be 255.255.255 because source IP address is 0 because I don't have IP address. So I'm putting a broadcast pack IP address here, and your destination will be 255.255.255.255 because I don't know who is my DHCP server. And there is a two more additional information also it's been added here. One is called source MAC address. You maybe already heard about a term called MAC address or a physical address, right? The network card or the network card, it's having a engine number that's called a MAC address. It's a 48-bit number. Now, if you're typing IP config, you may be seen like there is something is written as a physical address, right? It's something like your mobile having a IMEI number, right? Similar way, each network card or each Wi-Fi card or each network device cards have a physical address is been available. That is known as a MAC address. So that's having a MAC address, or that will have a physical address. It's called, or in some books you can able to see this has been mentioned as a physical address. Now, if you're opening this packet will have a source MAC address. What will be the source MAC address? This is be the MAC address of the client. What is the destination MAC? I don't know who is my DHCP server. So my destination MAC will be ff dot fff dot ff hexadecimal ff dot ff because I don't know who is my DHCP server. So it's a broadcast level, and it's been a layer 2 or a layer 3 broadcast level, and this will go in the entire network layer, and it will go up to the data link layer of your TCP IP protocol. So it will go up to the. I hope this point has been clear to you. In case if you want, you can able to see the DHCP discover packet information have been pasted on the chat window. So DHCP packet, this is the DHCP discover packet. So you'll have a source MAC address will be 00 and destination will be here. So I hope this discover packet concept has been clear to you. Any question from anyone? Okay, now let's move to the next one that's called offer packet. Now we understood DORA is the concept. So we understood D stands for discover. Now let's move to the next option that's called O. O stands for DHCP offer packet. Now what the offer packet is doing? Now everyone in the network will reply no. All the computers are not replying. Only the DHCP server will respond to the request saying that I have received your resume or I have received your DHCP discover packet. I am a DHCP server in this network. I can give you a IP address to you. So that offer packet will send to everyone because my DHCP server is not sure from where this request has come because there was no source IP address. So this will send a broadcast packet saying that, hey, I got a request. I'm responsible for a DHCP. So it will send a discover packet. This will be sending an offer packet to everyone in the network. Now, in the first case, DHCP discover packet, all the workstation who is not DHCP server, they will discard that packet. Only the DHCP server will be responded. Now, in the first case, everyone in the network has been receiving a DHCP discover packet, but they will not respond to that discover packet. They will tell, hey, I'm not a DHCP server. They will discard that packet. They won't be responded. Only the DHCP server available in the network, they will be responded to that packet saying that I am a DHCP server, I am responsible, or I can give you an IP address to this one. That is known as DHCP offer packet. So it's been responded here. So now, if you're seeing this DHCP offer packet, now DHCP offer packet, if you're opening, source IP address will be IP address of your DHCP because right now both the DHCP servers are responding, right? So that source IP address will be a IP address of DHCP server because by default DHCP is being configured with a static IP address. So that will have a DHCP server IP. So that will have a DHCP server IP address will be here. Destination IP address. Right now, I don't know from which DHCP client we got this request. So destination IP address will be 255.255.255.255. Still a broadcast because the client still has no IP address. That's the reason I'm using a destination IP address. So source MAC address will be, what is the MAC address? Source MAC address will be your DHCP MAC address. And destination MAC address will be, what will be the destination MAC address? Destination MAC address will be the client MAC address because already in the last packet I got who sent that request, right? Because I got who is the person who requested that one. So I'll add that information here. So everyone will receive. So they will discard only the client who requested that one. They will accept the offer packet. So this packet is known as a DHCP offer packet. I hope it's been clear. Any question from anyone? Okay. Now, first two transaction has been over. We got IP address. We understood who is being the person who has been responsible for giving this one. Now, the client again, they will request for a packet saying that, so thank you DHCP server for responding to my email or responding to my request. So now they will say, hey, give me um, the IP address. So that will be requested through a packet called DHCP request one. So that's called saying that I need an IP address, so they will request this one. So source MAC address will be the MAC address of the, sorry, source IP address will be 0.0.0 because there is no IP address is been configured. Destination will be still it's been 255 because in a DHCP, because there are some situations like multiple DHCP servers are configured. So your destination IP, the client will keep it as a 255 only here because I have received a two offer packet from a DHCP server. So it's not confirmed. So they will keep it as a broadcast one. Whoever is giving a first, let them give it. So you will keep it a destination IP address is a 255. Source MAC address. Source MAC address will be DHCP MAC address. Destination MAC address will be the DHCP server MAC address. So whoever receive, they will keep it a DHCP server MAC address. So and this is generally known as a DHCP request packet. Now, once it is received, only the authorized server, they will send a response to the client saying that, hey client, receive this IP address with a packet is called acknowledgement packet. So in the acknowledgement packet, the DHCP server will release an IP address and additional, if there is any information is configured, that information also is provided. So in a DHCP, in a acknowledgement part, they will release an IP address with the help of a DHCP acknowledgement part. Now, Pravas is saying, like, repeat the second one, that's offer one. Yeah, Pravas, you maybe notice like in the first packet, that's called DHCP discover packet. DHCP client has been sending a request to everyone in the network. I hope it's been clear to you. If it is clear, can you just comment it, Pravas Ahmed? So you will. The first portion has been clear to you. The DHCP client has been sending a request to everyone. Yes. Now, all the servers or all the workstation available in the network, they are receiving this packet. Now, you may be having a two type of a system will be available in that network. One is a DHCP server, and you will have a non-DHCP servers or a workstation or a workstations or a non-DHCP server or a workstations or a client also, right? There are three options. There are three type of devices you will be able to see. Now, after receiving a discover packet, generally the non-DHCP servers or a workstation or a client, what they will do, they will discard the packet. What do you mean discard the packet? They will say, sorry boss, I'm not responsible for assigning an IP address. They will discard the packet. Only the server who is been responsible or is been who is been installed with a DHCP feature, they will be responding back to the client with a packet that's called DHCP offer packet, saying that that's been a broadcast packet. Now, if you can see here, the second one, only right now you have a two DHCP server. They are responding saying that I'm a DHCP server. I'm responsible for issuing IP address. They will send a notification to this one. Clear? I hope it's been clear to you now. Pravas, if it has been clear to you, can you comment it on the chat window? Sorry, I just got some emergency call. Okay, now Pravas, it's been clear to you. Now, Sandesh is asking a question in the DHCP request packet. Client how to know the destination, that's a DHCP, where the client is been sending a broadcast one. Sandesh, I have two scenarios here. Now, Sandesh, you have a two DHCP server in your organization. You may be received here, you may be seen here. Both the DHCP servers are responding to you. See here, both the DHCP servers are responding. So that's the reason in the DHCP request packet, it's sending a request to everyone here because still it's not confirmed. That's the reason it's sending a packet in a uh, destination IP address is it's been keeping as a 255.255.255.255 because we have received an offer from more than one DHCP server in the domain, and DHCP client is not accepted any offer letter, right? Now, so that the reason, or it's not released in any IP address, that the reason it's using a broadcast IP address. Because if the because it is only one server, it's okay. But in a production scenarios, you may be having a multiple DHCP server is been available. So that the reason uh, client is sending a packet into broadcast after releasing a IP address of after receiving an IP address only. The concept is being changing to a unicast mode. I hope this DORA process has been clear to everyone. So what do you mean DORA process? D stands for discover, O stands for offer packet. Now you have a request R for request packet. Now you have a E is for acknowledgement. I hope it's been clear to everyone now. It's called DORA 1. There are two servers. Which server will finally release the IP address? Now, generally there are two concepts Sandesh it's been using. One it's been like uh, if you have configured an active directory in your organization, using an active directory, you will be able to define which server is authorized to release an IP address. So that generally known as authorized authorization. The concept is known as authorization. So if you have a multiple DHCP server in the network, with the help of an active directory or a directory server, you will enable or you will integrate or you will authorize a DHCP server saying that yes, I have a multiple server, but this person only can release IP address. That the concept is known as authorization. I have included that information in this session. So possible in the after a break, we'll be moving to that concept called authorization. Or there are second scenario in case if there is an active directory is not configured here, who is been responding first from that DHCP server, the client will get this one. First in, first out kind of options. But normally, Sandesh, in a most of the complex or infrastructure or production scenarios, we will have an active directory. Most of the times, cloud or a network admin or a DHCP admin, they will integrate a DHCP server with a active directory. That's a normal or a Microsoft recommended practice for configuring this one. So now almost an hour now. Let's take a 5 minutes break. And after break, let's try to understand lease generation, how much time this has been configuring, and we'll try to understand how lease renewal is being doing. So let's take a 5 minutes break and come back. And after that, we'll have a discussion about the lease renewal part. I hope all are back. If you're back, can you comment it on the chat window? Okay, ready. Okay, so I just got one comment on the chat window. Okay, now before break, we understood like how DORA has been working. Now, when we are discussing about the DORA process, you maybe notice there are multiple packets are involved, and finally, the client, or generally known as a DHCP client, is getting an IP address from a DHCP server. The server where your DHCP service is being installed, that is known as a DHCP server. How the DHCP server is being issuing with the help of a DORA process, the validation, all packet validation is been done, and once it is done, it will connect to the DHCP database, because there is a DHCP database is been created. Now, from the database, it's been allotting an IP address to the client. I hope it's been clear to you. This is the way it's been working in a on-premises DHCP server case. Now, in a cloud scenario, your Microsoft has been assigning a dynamic IP address, whether it's been a public or a private, it's been assigning to you. Now, right now we understood it's been getting an IP address to the client. By default, this is being assigned with a particular expiration date and time also. It's something like you applied for a passport or you applied for a driving license, right? That will have a validity, right? If you can open your passport or a driving license, it can be depends upon the country. A few countries it's having 15 years, or a few countries it's having 20 years. There is some validity will be available. Now, generally what we are doing before expiring that passport or that particular document, before that we'll approach that particular government or a particular vendor, or it is agency, will renew that, right? So similar way here also, right now the client is got an IP address from a DHCP server. Now that IP address will have a validity or expiration time. Generally this means 8 days or a 4 days, or depends upon how your admin is been configuring. We are setting a expiration date. The reason it's been like, we have seen it's been a static or a manual IP address case. Frequent movement was one of the concern, or one of the challenge we have faced, right? If one user is been moving, that IP address was reserved or it's been permanently assigned to that device. So that was the challenge for us. Now we need to avoid that. That's the reason we are setting some time of a period, saying that in case if the user is been not renewing, that IP address I'll assign to another user who has been available in the network. So that generally known as lease duration. What is the term you're using here? The term we are using is called lease duration. Now let's try to understand what is the lease duration here. By default, the lease duration on my Microsoft OS, it's been 8 days. In case if you want to change it, you have an option to change it also. Clear? Right now, your DHCP client here, it's got an IP address. Let's say it's been 10.0.0.4. Now, this IP address, he can use valid date of 8 days. Now, 8 days you'll be able to use. On the ninth day, that IP address will be expired. Now, in the ninth day, again, he need to do the same DORA process, and they need to will get either the same IP address or different IP address will get. So that is a normal way. But in a lease renewal process, Your client or your DHCP server won't wait for 8 days. Right now, we understood this IP address has been assigned for 8 days. So the 50% of your lease duration, what do you mean 50% of the lease duration? For example, like now it's been September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So technically, I'm able to use till this date my existing IP address. Now, your customer or the client won't wait for these 8 days. Now, instead of that, 50% of your total duration, it will send a packet saying that, hey agency, hey DHCP server, saying that I'm so and so client. I got an IP address previously, and my IP address is going to expire on 8th day. Can you renew it? So that packet has been request packet. It's not sending all the DORA packet here. It's been sending a unicast packet saying that my client name is so and so. It's been sending it directly a packet to the DHCP server with a detail saying that my source IP address is this, and this is the IP address I got previously. Now I need to renew it. What your DHCP server will tell? Oh, thank you for connecting me back. I have renewed your IP address. So again, it will add another 8 days. So it will 9, 10, 11, 12. So till 12th it can use. Got the point? Can you comment it if you're okay with this one? Concept has been clear? Can you comment it on the chat window? Sandesh is, thank you Sandesh. Sandesh has been commented. Now I'm waiting for the rest of the members also to comment. It may be a confusing topic. That's the reason I'm just asking you to yeah, chat is also it's been confirmed. So Stephen, thank you Stephen. Yes, few people have been started, but I'm waiting I'm good. Okay, thank you Lim. So good morning Lim. Okay, clear. So we got an answer. It's been clear. Now again, another 50% the same process will happen. Now you think a scenario. Now in the fourth day is a Sunday, or there are some network issue happen, or the DHCP server is not working. Sunday the server may be up, okay, not we may be not working, but I'm just giving a scenario. For example, like there was some outage was going on. Your DHCP server was not reachable. There are some technical maintenance happening. So that kind of a situation, how your DHCP server will communicate. So it's not waiting for the next day. Instead of that, this will be initiated on the 87.5% of the use duration. That's possibly on the 6th day or 7th day morning, because it won't send the next day. For example, like I'm giving 50% of the day due to some network glitch, or due to some network connectivity issue, or some server hardware maintenance. Maybe the client was not working, or it was in a shutdown case. Then it will be waiting on for the 87 point percentage. For this the 6th day, the same process will happen, and it will be added here. Now in the 87 percentage also the server was not down. Still I'm able to use that one till, because my lease duration is been given. It's been the 100%, right? So till 8th day I can able to use. So if the 87 percentage day also, if I'm not able to renew that one, so the 8th day your IP address will be expired. So the next day onwards, you won't be able to use it. So or the next day again, you need to do the lease generation, and they may lead to a different IP address, or you may get a different IP address. So that's the way the lease renewal process is being generally happening. So in case if you want to do any kind of a lease renewal, it's been automated process between the DHCP client and the DHCP server. You don't need to do anything on that. But as an admin, you have an option, or you have a flexibility to set what is the time period or the for the lease duration. So by default, it's 8 days for the wired network, and 6 days is for the wireless. That's the time generally it's been configured. Now, in case if you want to do any modification in the DHCP configuration protocol, you have an option to do that modifications. I hope you're clear with this concept, how lease renewal has been happening, and I hope how it's been lease generation has been working also. So we have a two terms we have studied. Lease generation has been working with the help of a DORA process. Lease renewal means that how this IP address has been renewed in the DHCP client in a periodically. That option also we have been seeing. Now, next we'll try to install a DHCP server on an on-premises server, and we'll try to see how this has been configured on a cloud side also. Can I move to the next part? Any question from anyone? Okay, good. Now, right now we understood in a lease generation process or in a lease renewal process, the packet or the communication is being doing in a broadcast method. Now let's take a scenario. You have a two department is available in your network. Let's say it's like HR is one network and you have a finance is another network. Both the departments are connected in two different buildings, and both the buildings are interconnected with the help of a router. So within router, it's been connected. Now you have a one DHCP server who has been configured in the finance department. All the clients was using the same DHCP server. So instead of using a DHCP server, the client was using only one DHCP server, but physically this has been hosted in the finance building. Right now we understood when you're using a DORA process or a lease generation process, it was working with the help of a concept called DORA. How DORA has been working? It's been sending a broadcast packet, and it's been responding with the help of a discover or a request packet, and IP address has been generated. Now in a DORA packet or in the process, there is one important point you need to remember. Always this broadcast packet, this will reach up to router only, because if you take any L3 routers or it's been like any routers or L3 source, that is having a by default property. What is that property or what is that feature? By default, all routers are, or by default, all routers will block broadcast requests. Right now, all these clients are requesting for a DHCP IP address. It send a packet to everyone in the network. Unfortunately, the DHCP server has been placed in another network, which has been hosted in another building, and this is been interconnected using a router. Now I need to reach that server, right? By default, this packet will won't go that side, because the reason it's been like it's been router has been available here. Router is by default it's been blocking. Now how I can send this packet to the next building? You can enable a feature inside a router that is known as a DHCP relay agent. So you can enable a feature called DHCP relay agent that will allow you to send a packet to the DHCP server in a unicast mode. So we have included this information here. Right now you can able to see here. Right now it's been sending a broadcast. Right now you can able to see it's been sending through a unicast mode. So the reason I have included here, because most of the scenarios in a production sites, you may be having a different network available, and you need to configure this on the router level. Sandesh, this needs to enable in the router level. DHCP relay agent to be configured in the router. Clear? Now, I'm giving another scenario also. Now, there are some situations you may be having a multiple DHCP server is been available in your network. The same server itself, multiple server has been available. Sandesh, I think it's before break asked this question. Now, which server will uh, authorize or which server will assign an IP address? This generally it's been done with a concept called DHCP server authorization. Now, in case if you have a multiple DHCP server has been available and we don't want any kind of a confusions or we don't want multiple set of IP range to be issued to my client. So for avoiding this one, generally we will integrate your DHCP server and Active Directory, saying that in the Active Directory you will publish this is the DHCP server who has been responsible or who has been authorized to give an IP address this one. So only that server will be release the IP address. So the concept is knowing as DHCP authorization. Right now you can able to see we have a two DHCP server here, this DHCP server 1 and DHCP server 2, and you can able to see there is a domain controller or Active Directory domain service is being configured here. Now I'm sending, I'm authorizing DHCP server as a authorized one, and the DHCP server is been not authorized here. So you can able to see here DHCP server is been authorized here, and he has been responsible for sending or receiving a DHCP request, and DHCP server 2 is been unauthorized here. You can see in the screen. Now give a scenario. It's been like now you can able to see here. I have a DHCP client who is been sending a request. Right now you can able to see only the DHCP server 1 is been responding to this one. See, other one is been received, but I will type sorry boss. Even though I am a DHCP server, I don't have a authorization to release this one. So only the DHCP server who has been authorized, they will issue the IP address here. Right now on the slide, you may be able to see like the DHCP client is sending a request and they are responding to that. Now, in case if you want to configure any of DHCP authorization, you need to have an enterprise admin power and ensure that both are it's been configured on the same network. I'll show you this while doing a lab. Now, let me try to install a DHCP server and we'll come back to this DHCP management part. Now, let's go back to the Microsoft portal, Azure portal. Before that, let me explain you what currently we are going to do. Let me take you into whiteboard. Okay. Now we have a two scenarios here. One scenario it's been like we are trying to consider how this is been configured in a on-premises one. Second scenario it's been like how the VMs are receiving an IP address in a cloud. So let's finish the on-premises first because AZ800 is covering both the topics. So we need to see both the sides. Okay. So we'll try to see a on-premises one first. So on-premises one, you are taking a physical box. On top of that, you are installing an operating system. On top of that, you are installing a DHCP service. Cloud, I'll discuss in the later point. Now, since I don't have a physical box right now here, I'm configuring a Azure VM. And on top of the Azure VM, I'm installing operating system. On top of that, I'm trying to install a DHCP service. Clear? Let's try to do that lab right now here. Let me create a Azure VM right now. Let me connect to the portal. My ID issue still is going on. So it's been pending with the Microsoft now. It's been using my friend ID here. Let me log in. Okay, just give me a second. It's asking OTP. 1 second. Now it's been OTP is getting some delay. Okay, yeah, I got OTP for this one. 063. I hope you can see the screen. I hope you can see the screen. Right now you can see there is a VM is being created. Let me start it. This is the VM which we created yesterday. Let's start it. Okay, so we have started. Now let's connect to this VM. Refresh it. It's been starting. What is the public IP address? Let's connect to this VM. So we have been connected to this VM. Yes. Now, right now we have been, your physical server is been ready. Right now we are trying to understand how this servers can be configured as a DHCP server here. Now let's configure it. Now, in case if you want to configure this one, let's try to understand. This got a static IP address. So let's configure. Yes, this got an IP address 10.0.0.4. Okay, and it's got a 2 IP address also. Now let's configure as a role. Now, in case if you want to configure any DHCP servers or any server, this one Microsoft Windows Server 2019 or a 2022, this has been configured as a role-based installation. Now let's click on the role-based features here. Now I am selecting which servers you want to install this one. Right now we have only one server is here, so I'm configuring it on the same server. I need to select an option called DHCP server. So this is a phrase I need to configure. So I need to configure. It's been it's got a message saying that there is no static IP address is been configured. The reason it's been like Whenever we are going to configure any kind of a DHCP or a DNS service, always we need to make sure that that server is being configured with a static IP address here. Now, right now, this VM is got a dynamic IP address because we have configured this VM in a Microsoft Azure portal. So by default, this has been configured with a dynamic IP address. Now, what you can do, it's been like, let's make this as a static IP address and just save it. I'm just making a VM IP address is a static IP address. The reason it's been like, whenever you're configuring a DHCP or Active Directory or DNS, any Microsoft service, make sure that you're using a static IP address. Right now, we got an error message saying that, hey, Robin, you are trying to create a um, client or it's you're trying to create a DHCP server, but unfortunately, the server has been using a dynamic IP address. That's the reason we got a message. So we need to just go back, cancel it, and reconfigure it again. DHCP. Continue. Because I need to just reboot this VM also because the network configuration is not taken. So let's take a reboot of this VM because that network configuration is not taken. So just reboot that one. Right now, VM is being got rebooted. Let's go back and connect it. It's getting in some error message. So let me try to sort it out that. Server has been connected now. Let's try to install the DHCP service. So it's been taking. So you need to go to add roles and features. Let's select the option called DHCP. Right now, you may be noticed here. It may be showing a 30 plus service here, right? Right. It's been Active Directory or a DNS or a DHCP or a file server or a print server. This is known as a role-based installation because right now the server is been configured with only the base operating system. Now, instead of installing all the service on the same server, customer is getting a flexibility to install based on the requirement. Now the customer is thinking like the server needs to configure as a Active Directory, so you can install Active Directory rather than installing all the 30 servers on the same server. That may lead a server into some kind of a performance issue, because if the server is running with only the base configuration, you will have a face a lot of performance issues here. Now for avoiding this one, generally you will have a option is available called role based installation, so that based on the customer requirement I'll be able to configure it here. Right now you can able to see DHCP again is getting some error message. No problem. Let's go ahead. Let's create and install. So it's saying that once the installation, you need to reinstall it. Okay, no problem. Just saying right, install it. Now configure a DHCP server here. Now its installation has been started. You may be able to see it on that screen. Right now the installation has been completed, so we need to close it. So this will ask you to do a couple of configuration here. Right now it's been saying that installation has been completed. Now we need to do a reboot first. Before doing any kind of a modification, better do a restart. Then once it is done, we'll do a configurations. Right now we haven't configured any configuration on a DHCP server. Right now on the base operating system, we have enabled or we have configured the operating DHCP service. We just installed the DHCP service. Now once the server is been back, we need to configure a DHCP service. We need to configure all the options. Now once the VM has been back, let's right now it's been on rebooting stage. Right now let's try to connect it. Asking the username and password again. Still in reboot stage only. I'm not able to connect, so we need to wait 2 minutes. Oh, let me retype it again. Look like our VM has got some issues. Was not allowing me to connect. This look like some issue happened. Let me try to sort out. Yes, now it's been correct. Previously, this was rejecting my username and password. Not sure what happened really. Okay, right now we have installed a DHCP service here. Now let's try to understand how this can be managed. Now, in case if you want to manage here, once it is been configured, you can able to see there is a dashboard. It's been coming on the server manager. So you can able to see the server manager option is been coming here. Now, if you're selecting server manager here on the dashboard, you will be able to see the services which is been configured on the DHCP. So right now you can able to see there is an option is been available. Right now you can able to see the DHCP service is been configured here, right? You can able to see there is a DHCP service is been configured. Now, if you're selecting here, it's been there's one option it's been like you can select a DHCP. This will give you an option for configuring all the options here where you can able to configure a couple of terms called DHCP scope or DHCP server options or this kind of additional configuration can be configured. That is the one option. Or the second option, you can go to tools. There you can able to select an option called DHCP. If you are taking that option, this will be taking you to console called DHCP management console. So it's called DHCP management console where you can able to configure this one. So there you can able to configure a DHCP management console. So you can able to configure a management consoles, or you can type a command called DHCP mgmt.msc. There is a short form you can use it. You can just type it on the run command, and there you can type a command called DHCP mgmt.msc. So the moment if you type this one, this will be taking to a control the same console where you can able to configure your server. Once you type this command on a run, you can able to see there is a DHCP management console window is been opened for you, right? And the left side, you will be able to get a couple of options here. First option will be like, what is the server name it's been of your VM or the on-premises one. Right now, you are able to see a lengthy name here. The reason it's been like this VM has been provisioned from Azure and it's got a default domain name also. That's the reason it's showing is a VM1 dot some X dot cloud app dot some name you are getting, internal dot cloud app, some lengthy name you are getting. In a normal on-premises cases, this will have a shorter name, whatever name is been given to a client, only that name will be available. And bottom, you are able to see there are two options that's called IP version 4 and IP version 6 also. So DHCP, you can able to use it for configuring a IP version 4 configuration, as well as you are eligible or you are able to, or you're getting a flexibility to configure IP version 6 as well. Now, if you click on IP version 4, you are getting a couple of options here. That's called a server option. You are getting an option called policies and a filter. So right now what we have done on top of an operating system, you have installed a DHCP service and you configured it. Now, if any client, if they want to receive an IP address from here, that's it's how it's been providing. It's been provided from a DHCP database. So now as an admin, I need to configure a pool of IP address that can be released to the client. Now, if any client is coming and knocking my DHCP service and asking with a DHCP discover or a DORA packet, I will refer my DHCP database, and from that pool, I'll assign an IP address. I hope it's been clear to you. Now let's see how this has been configured. This has been configured with an option called scope. The pool of IP address, how this has been configured, is been configured with a option called DHCP scope. Scope is nothing. You are defining a pool of IP address, saying that from this IP address to this IP address, you can able to use for releasing this one. So that has been configured with a concept called scope. So scope can be configured in a multiple way. That's called first. Let me show you that there is a multi-scat course to allow. You have a couple of options also you'll be getting here. Now let's try to understand how the scope is being configured here. Now DHCP scope is nothing. Right now you understood for a management you are getting a option called DHCP console, right? In case if you want to manage using a PowerShell, you have that option also here, like get this DHCP discover kind of commands or a set this DHCP discover kind of a PowerShell commands you can use, or management you can able to do with the help of a DHCP management console. Now let's try to understand about how DHCP has been providing or how DHCP has been releasing this one. So we'll be discussing about a couple of topics called DHCP scope, and we'll be discussing about it options called super scope, multicast, and we'll discuss about a server option or a DHCP option or a class options also, and how these options are being applied. Now, right now, if you have seen in the lease generation process, when the DHCP client is being contacted a DHCP server with the help of a DORA process, this is being provided. IP address is being provided. How DHCP is being providing? It's with the help of a concept called DHCP scope. What is the DHCP scope is doing? Whenever there is a option, whenever there is any server is being configured, in the server DHCP server, you will define an IP address saying that if any IP address is been connecting, I'm just saying like a DHCP scope one, or I'm saying like HR1. This is for HR network. I'll define an IP address. It's been like a 10 dot, or it's like a 192.168.0.1 to 192.168.0.10. Now here at the bottom, right now I have defined a pool of IP address from a 1 to 10. For any client is been connecting to my DHCP server, for the first client it will give IP address 1, second it will give 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this it will go. The length is nothing, it's a subnet. What is a subnet to be used for that? So you'll be getting a subnet. In case if you want to make any kind of a subnet modification, you can able to do it here. Now I'm just giving next. Now I'll tell you what is an exclusion and a reservation here in the later point. Right now, I'm just skipping these points here. Now, this is the place where you are defining your duration. How many days or how many hours if you want to give this IP address to the client. That is being decided, or that lease duration is being decided here. So I'm saying like by default timing is be 8 days. So the 50% of the days day, the lease renewal process will happen until 8th day it can able to use. Now as an admin, if you want, you can able to modify that. Right? So it's based on your compliance policy of your organization, or based on the DHCP policy of your organization, you have a flexibility, or you are getting a rights to make any kind of a modification on the lease duration also. In case if you want to do any kind of a modification here, you can able to do it here. Right now I'm not doing any kind of a modification here. I'm saying let's go for a standard or the existing or a default options here. So default option is been 8 days. Now in case if you want to do any kind of a modification, that you will be able to do it here. Now I'm giving a next. Now there is an additional option also I'll be getting here. I'll tell you what is this in the later point. Right now you can able to see here. I'm just skipping this one and giving no. Yes, finish. Right now, you can able to see this DHCP configuration is being configured here. Now, right now, if you're seeing here, there is an additional few options or a few folders is been configured here in the left side. You can able to see there is a, you got a new options here right now. That is called address pool. You got an option for address lease or reservation or a scope option. There is a couple of new options has been created here. Now, if you're seeing here in the scope option, you are getting a message like a 192.168.0.0 and whatever name, scope name you are given, that option is been showing. Now, on the left side of that folder, you may be seeing there is a small down red arrow is been showing there, right? I'm not sure it's been visible to you. If you're closely, if you're looking to that window, you may be noticing there is a small down arrow is been given here. It's saying, hey, Robin, you created a server here, or you created a DHCP scope here, but that scope is not activated. That's the meaning of this one. That means I have configured a DHCP server. In case if I'm not activated this one, my DHCP server won't be releasing any IP address. So there are many situations. I used to get a lot of calls from a students saying that, hey, Robin, I have configured my DHCP server and this is not releasing any IP address to the client. So the reason was very simple, because that scope is not activated. So if in case if you want to activate this one, you can just right click on that. There you will be getting an option called activate. Now, if you right click on that scope, you will be able to see there is an option called activate. So you can able to activate that. So if you can able to activate that, that will be changing that red arrow will now. Right now, the moment when you connect any DHCP client, they will give a IP address on this port. So in case if you're facing any kind of DHCP related issues in a customer place, ensure that your DHCP servers are in activated mode, because many times this is one of the common issues we have been facing in the customer places. So in case if the DHCP is being not activated, or in case if the DHCP is not showing, or it's been not available, or it's been not you are getting any kind of issues, so this may be the one of the reason for that. So this point you need to remember. Any questions here? I tried for Charita for expanding this one, but uh, I tried, but it's um, not changing this one. Let's try it again. If you want, you can let me try it in the VM. If you want me to change the displays. What is the resolution display? There's no display options, right? There's no option to change graphics. Let me go to graphics. No, I'm not getting Charita for an option to change. Because I was not getting that option. That the reason it's got stuck there. Any question from anyone else? I hope it's been good, and any you don't have any questions on this portion. If yes, let's have a discussion. Okay, so that's about. I have just posted a question. Okay, what was that? Is it mandatory to have a static IP address on a DHCP from a DHCP scope? Generally, Sandesh, we are configuring a static IP address for the DHCP server. That is a standard practice. It's been like you need to have a static IP address for a DHCP server. Now, Neil is asking how to allocate a static reserve for other devices like printers. Neil, that generally we configured with a concept called reservation. Two people is talking how to understand who is been teaching. Is there any echo? Guys, can you confirm is there any echo in the session? Because um, I got a command. It's been like two people are teaching. So because I'm not seeing any echo here. So okay, thank you. Now, okay, thank you. Now, right now we have seen it's been like how IP address is been assigned. Now let's go back to the whiteboard. Now let's go back to the whiteboard. Now we got a printer questions here. Okay. Now right now what we have done, it's been like we have configured a DHCP servers here. So right now you have a DHCP server is been configured. Now inside a DHCP server, there is a DHCP database is been configured. How database is been working? Is been working with the help of a scope. What do you mean by scope? You defined a pool IP address, right? 192.168.0.1 to 192.168.0.10. So this number can be any numbers, okay? I've just given for a lab purpose, I given 0 to 10, 1 to 10 only. Now, if first client is been connecting with the help of a DORA process, this be connected to the DHCP server. So this will be assigned with 192.168.0.1. So now if the second client has been connecting from the port, it's been assigned the second IP address 192.168.0.2. So like this with this IP address will be assigned, right? Now up to 10 clients, right now we have a IP address is been released up to 10 client. Now if the 11th client, if it is been connecting, now 11th client is been connecting, what will happen in area? Because in most of the customer place, you may be face this issue. What is the I'm just giving a scenario. It's been like um, any idea what is that? Yes, I'm just giving a scenario. It's been like you are in a customer place. The IP pool is being released from 1 to 10. Already 10 client is been already connected. Now I'm giving a posting a questions on the table. If the 11th client is been connecting, what will happen? Now, if 11th client is been connecting, DORA process will initiate. Now, DHCP database will check is there any IP address is been available in the pool. Now, DHCP is understood. Sorry, there is no IP address is been available. So they will send because there is a kind of a situation. One, it's been like DHCP server database been full. Second case is been like there is no IP address is been available. And there are some situation if there is a network connectivity is been faced. There's a network connectivity means that if your client is not able to reach out into a DHCP server, your server or the client itself will generate an IP address that is known as APIPA. That's called automatic private IP addressing. You may be seeing this IP address in your system. Uh, for example, like automatic private IP addressing, you may be seeing an IP address in your system. Most of the times, this will be generated a class B IP address like 169.254.x.x. X.x is a number. This is something like there are two situations generally this will come. One, it's been like in case if your DHCP server is been full, or if the DHCP server is been not able to communicate, the server or the DHCP or the TCP IP himself will create an IP address. The server is called 169.254.x.x. This is generally known as a APIP IP address. Clear? In case there are some in case if you are in a customer place or a client side, and if the client is saying like I'm not able to connect to my printer, or if I'm not able to connect to any of the computer in the network, then you can verify this one. What is the IP address is been currently assigned to that? That's called APIP IP address. That's called automatic private IP address. So with the help of that, you will be assigned with a temporary IP address. But you need to remember, with this APIPA IP address, you won't be able to communicate to any of the system in the network, because this has been totally different. What is the IP schema currently using in the network? Because this is a different one. So with the APIPA IP address, you can able to communicate with other IPPA computer in the network only. If you have any other computer who is being configured with the 169, yes, you can able to connect it. Otherwise, you will not be able to or do any kind of a communication in the network. Now, there are, as I said, there are two scenarios these issues will come. One is been like in case your DHCP is been full, this IP address will do. Now, there are some situation. Now, I think few minutes before, I think Neil was posted a question. Right now, this IP address is been assigned from a pool, right? Like from right now, you may be seeing like there is a address pool. This has been created. This code address pool has been created. Now, if you go inside uh, network, or it's been the DHCP, you may be seeing this one, right? This mean right now, if you're seeing here in the IP address pool, like in the DHCP itself, you may be seeing this option, right? The address leases, you may be able to see there is a address lease pool is been created here. And the pool, you will be able to see what is the pool currently it's been configured. You can able to see there is a 169 or 168.0.1 to 10 is been configured. And in the bottom, you can able to see there is a lease also. Right now, it will give you a detail like which client is been currently using this, and what is the computer name of that client, and when that IP address is been expired. Right now, we don't have any client here. So in case if there is any client got an IP address from here, you will be able to see, or you will be able to give, or will be getting all that information here, so that you can able to see an option called address leases. So in the address lease, you will be able to see these options. Now we are able to see one more options there. It's called reservations, right? Reservation is been generally happening. Right now, I'm just giving a scenario. Right now, you have a pool of IP address here. Now, based on the request, first in, first out kind of model, this is been assigning. Now, in my organization, I have a yes, this is something like this. This IP address will be something like who is been right now. That's thank you, Charita, for sharing that. Right now, you can able to see Charita has been shared a screen there. There you can able to see the client assigned with an IP address like this, and there is an uh, look like Charita, you've been configured your DHCP in your network. Any office network is been configured, because I can see there is a test scope is been configured, and I look like old. Yeah, I think you need to shut down right away, because This may go to HR escalation right away because all the computers in your network is been getting an IP address from your. Okay, this is Google. Okay. I thought it's been your office is been configured and all your office computer is started getting IP address from your uh, demo mission. Then that may lead to termination for you. So that's the reason I told right away shut down it. It's from a Google. Then that's not an issue then. Because I was seeing like many computers have been started communicating to your uh, test DHCP and started receiving from the that may lead to this one. Because I have a one of the client also happened for this because he done a test lab in office network. All the network is being got an IP address from his laptop, and their network in the office was down because of his test DHCP server. So I don't want you to be in this kind of a situation. That's the reason I told you to shut down. Now, leave it that. Right now, we are discussing about a term called address releases. Right now, in the image, you may be able to see it's been like the client has been lot of client is got an IP address from the DHCP server with the lease duration also. Now, I'm giving a scenario. It's been like you have a printer is been configured, um, and you need to ensure that this printer is been IP this printer is always getting a one set of IP address. So saying that always my printer want to use one IP address 0.10, whether because I don't want to go for any kind of a lease generation or a lease renewal. I need to ensure that my printer is being getting a standard IP address. So let's how this has been possible. Generally, this has been possible with the help of a concept called reservation. There's a there's a option called DHCP reservation. Now, right now, if you're seeing the DHCP, right now you can able to uh, see an option called reservation here. So with the help of a reservation, you will be able to reserve an IP address to the client. Right now, you can, if you want to reserve an IP address here, you can able to go to a new reservation. And in case if you want to reserve an IP address to the one network printer or exchange server, any of the computer, you can able to do it here. For example, like I'm just giving like a printer. Now, when a printer you want to configure a dedicated IP address, you can able to configure. So, but the point you need to remember here, in case if you want to configure um, configure any kind of a reservation, you need to remember there is a MAC IP address is been always is been configured because always this reservation is been done or it's been configured with the help of a MAC address only. So you're doing a IP address and physical MAC address binding. So in case if you want to configure any kind of uh, uh, a reservation in your organization, you need to ensure that there's a MAC address binding is be done. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it. So you need to ensure that there's a MAC address binding is been done here. So reservation is generally using in case if you want to reserve an IP address to particular device, you know there is an IP address or there's a printer is been coming, or you need to ensure that firewall is always is been configured with a one set of IP address, then you can able to reserve that one. But only the point you need to remember in case if you want to configure any kind of a reservation on DHCP, MAC address or the physical address is been mandatory. I'm pausing here in case if you have any questions. All good. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm coming to the super scope, Neil. Uh, Now, and I'm giving another scenario here. What is the best practice to MAC binding from an L2 switch? Generally, it's been on the DHCP server, Charita. It's been generally in the DHCP server. What is the kind of a policy option is been there? I'm coming to that. What is the policy and what is the DHCP option are. I will discuss that. Okay, now right now we have seen it's been like how the reservation has been working. Now you need to configure another set of a policy called exclusion. Right now we have seen it's like when you are configuring a pool of IP address, from that pool the IP address is being released. Now you are in a kind of a situation you need to exclude one set of IP address from releasing. Right now you have 1 to 10 IP addresses been configured. Now you need to reserve a couple of IP address, or you need to exclude a couple of IP address from a releasing. That generally done with the help of a concept called exclusion, saying that I'm excluding one set of IP address from releasing or a distribution. How this has been done? Because in the address range, address lease, and sorry, in the address pool, you have an option you are getting that's called new exclusion range. I'm saying like 192 dot. There are future, I know there is some devices been coming. I'm just giving a scenario. It's like you have configured a DHCP scope for your organization. Now, in the same organization, there is some particular um, printers you need to configure as a static one. Now we understood like in case if I need to configure a reservation, it's necessary or it's mandatory that we need to provide a physical uh, address. But right now you are in a kind of a situation. In future, there is a printer is been coming. But right now I don't have any information about what is the IP address is going to be used, or what is the physical address of a network printer. But as per my IP schema, IP address 5 has to be reserved for my network printer. But I don't have any physical address details. You got the point? Right now you configured an IP address from 1 to 10. Now we understood there is an option is been available called reservation. With the help of a reservation option, you can define or you can give a permanent IP address to one device or any set of machines. Now, if I need to configure reservation, it's mandatory that I need to provide a MAC address. Now, right now you are in kind of a situation. In future, there is a printer is been coming. But right now, I don't have information about that printer. I don't know what is the MAC address. I don't know which company it is. I don't have any information. Now, how will you do that? Because in case if I'm not reserved, or if I'm not configured this one. Now, yes, normally the management purpose, or there is some CE or CSS code. So we need to keep it in the pool. So that generally done with the help of a concept called exclusion. For example, I'm excluding one set of IP address here. See here, I'm seeing configuring 0.6. I'm just given an exclusion. Now, right now you can able to see I have a exclusion is been configured here. What is the exclusion I have configured? I have configured in the database. There is an exclusion 192.168.0.5, 0.6 is been excluded. So the first client will get 1, second client will get 2. If third client, if it is connecting, they will get 3. Fourth client will get IP address 4. What about the fifth client? Can you comment what is the IP address is going to get? Can you comment it on the chat window? Now Sandesh and Jay is saying 7. Rest of the members, can you just comment it? What is your thought about this? It's been 0.7. What is the reason? Because IP address 5 and 6 is been excluded from the release. Clear? Yes, the answer is been right, because 5 and 6 is been excluded. Right now we are blocking this one, Jay. It's been your blocking. Tomorrow, if you're coming, you can reserve it though. But what if you use a static IP address? If you use the static IP address, there is a chance of conflict in your network. You think if you try to use you have a DHCP server available in your network, and the same time, if you try to use a static IP address, that may lead to IP conflict in your network. So that is a problem for you because that may lead to IP conflict. No, client won't be getting a 0, 5, and 6 right now because the reason it's been like there is no IP address is been excluded here, right? So client won't be getting this IP address here. Can we a lot of specifications on the specific? Can we? I'm not clear about that question. Can you just repeat that? How to reserve a static IP address? You need to go for a J reservation option. Simply, yes, that is very simple. It's been not releasing that IP address. Okay, so I think we are good with that. So we understood a three concept here. That's called reservation. We understood what is a scope, and we understood what is a option about exclusion also. Now, let me share you another concept that's called superscope. Superscope is generally coming. Now we have a DHCP server. Let me clear the screen. Now you have a DHCP server is being configured in your network. You have configured one scope called HR, and HR scope is you are given 192.168.0.12, 192.160.0.10. So this is the range right now we have been configured. And you have a finance department also available. And this is been configured with 10.0.0.1 to 10.0.0.100. Now I have a scenario here. I have a 15 computers is been connected to HR network. 15 computers is been connected here. Technically, all of us know how many computer will get an IP address here if this is being connected to this scope. Only 10 computers are going to get IP address from this pool. The reason it's been like the pool it's been on configured from 1 to 10 only. Now, what about the next 5 clients? Next 5 clients, we understood it may end with a PIPA configuration, right? It's been getting an APIPA configuration. So what will happen if the client is getting a PIPA configuration? They won't be able to communicate each other, right? Only that 5 computer can communicate each other because that 5 computer are um, from the same computer, because from the same network, so the same class B network, so it's not be able to communicate. Only the same we can able to. So only the 5 computer can be able to communicate this one, because the reason it's been like um, because both are from the same, because it's been both are from the same class B network, so you'll be able to communicate each other. Now Rest of the members are not able to communicate because both are from it's been 1 second. So in that kind of a situation, you can able to go for another options called super scope. What do you mean by super scope? Yes, one option is been like as Jay said, you can able to go for an option called increasing the scope. That's one options you have. What is the options you have? You can expand or you can extend. You can do some kind of a modification here, saying that this number can be changed to 20 or a 25 or 30, or it's been this one, or you can extend that one. That's one option you can have. Second option is been like if the management is saying, hey Robin, I'm not worrying about what is the IP address has been getting. I don't want any kind of APIBA to be assigned to my client. So that kind of a situation, we can take a loan from this account, Superscore, because in case if the DHCP server is not able to fulfill this IP address here, in case if you're merging, that's called if you're interconnecting these two scope, because my pool is been full now because I don't have any option to give an IP address here. So I can able to start releasing an IP address from a second scope. So this method or this option is being known as a super scope. What is the advantages happening here? Because all these clients will get an IP address from a finance network instead of a PIPA IP address. This all will be getting 0.01 or a 0.0.3 or whatever IP address is being configured. So this will be able to communicate with the finance department here. Clear? This is known as a super scope. So super scope is nothing. It's a merging of normal scope. That's known as a super scope. In case if you want to uh, do this kind of a configuration in network, that generally done with the help of a super scope. I hope it's been clear to everyone. In case if you have need a further discussion or a debate on that, we can have it now. Now, let me share the sliders or whatever point so far it's been conferred. Right now it's been discussed about it. Options called a scope. Scope is nothing. It's a pool you are configuring. That's called a scope. And then we had a discussion is about a super scope. In case if you want to merge multiple scope, that generally it's been done with the help of a super scope. So it's be able to communicate each other, and you are able to do this one. Okay, that's called a super scope. Now, DHCP reservation, we have discussed. There are some situations, some particular device or workstation, if they want to configure with a one particular um, IP address. Uh, that kind of a situation, you can able to go for a reservation. Now, APIPA already we have discussed. In case if you're not able to reach to a DHCP server, or if the DHCP server is connectivity issue, or if the DHCP server is been full, that kind of a situation, we can the server will be getting an option called APIPA one. Now, these are the few commands generally we are using in case if you are configuring in a PowerShell mode. Right now, we have been managing a DHCP mode in a um, um, OS mode or the management console. These are the few commands generally we are using. Now, in a most of the situation in a customer places, uh, we'll be using a thumb rule of 80-20 rule, because um, most of the times like for providing a redundancy, in olden days we used to go for an option called 80-20 rule. That means 80% of the IP address will be released from a one DHCP server, 20% will be assigned from a second server, because we need to ensure that there is some kind of availability, because there are some situation if the DHCP server is down, due to some OS issues or due to some X or Y reasons, we don't want to lead this network to into API path. So most of the times, people will be using two kind of a mode. One, it's been like you will be using a clustering, or the second option is been like we'll be using a 80-20 rule. Like you will have a two DHCP server. One will be configured with 80% of servers, and the second will be configured with um, 80 to 20% of 20 20% of this one also. It's been the 20% of. Yeah, clustering is one of the latest features on this we are using, like failover cluster on this one. This will be the normal or the better solution nowadays using. In the olden days, we used to use a 80-20 kind of a rules here. Now, we understood what is a super scope. We understood what is a reservation. Now, let me take you into another concept called DHCP options. Let's try to understand what is a DHCP options in the DHCP console. Now, when you configure a DHCP, the moment when you configure a DORA process or a lease generation, let me take you into the whiteboard. Now, if you're using in a network, generally, if you want to connect to external world or external network, many times we may need some additional information, right? You may be already aware of that. Like in case if you want to do any kind of a, additional communication, you may be using a gateway servers, or you may be using a DNS or a firewall, right? So you maybe need some additional information in your network. Now, when we are using a DHCP, when you configure a DHCP, when you configure the scope, right now you have provided only two information here, right? One is what was the information you configured? You provided IP address and what is the IP subnet to be used, right? The moment when you configured a scope, you may be remembering here, right? Right, when you configured a scope here, you have configured only two information here. I'm just giving a test. You may be remembering here, right? You defined a range and you defined a subnet mask also. Now, all of us knows in a network, these two informations are not sufficient for a communication, right? In case if you want to do any kind of a additional information is been uh, configuring in your organization, for example, like um, in case if you have a multiple servers is been available, or it's like in case if you want to do any kind of a in case if you want to do any organizations wants to do any additional information, if they want to push, they can be able to do with the help of a concept called DHCP options. That's called, what is that? That's called DHCP option, because by default right now you may be able to see the moment the client it's been connected to a DHCP server, by default the client is getting a two information. What is the two information is getting? The client is getting the moment it's been getting or it's been connected. For example, like you have a DHCP server is here. Now you have a DHCP client also. The moment it's been connected to a DHCP client with the help of a DORA process, it's got two information. It's got IP address 0.1 and it's got a subnet mask also. Now with the help of that, with the help of this IP address and subnet mask, it's been able to it's been able to you'd be able to communicate it's been able to communicate it's been able to communicate with the internal computers. Now if I need to connect to external world, I may need a gateway server. If I need to do any kind of a name resolution, I may need a DNS also. Now, along with the IP address, if you want to push some additional information can be DNS, or additional information can be IP address or of a firewall or a DNS or a print server, any additional information if you want to push, that generally done with the help of an option called DHCP option. So this DHCP option can be configured in 3 levels. One is being configured in a scope level, or it can be configured in server level, or it can be configured in reservation level also. I hope it's been clear to you. I'm saying by default, when you're configuring a DHCP, by default, only two informations are by default it's been pushed. Now, if you're thinking like along with the IP address, I have to configure my primary DNS server or a secondary server DNS, or I have to configure a firewall or a printer or any additional information if I need to push. How generally it's been done? It's been done with the help of a DHCP option. Now, this DHCP option is nothing, some additional information you are pushing. Now, if you're seeing here, this can be configured from a scope option level, or it can be configured in a server option level, or it can be configured in a reservation level also. What is the meaning? Now, if I'm configuring a policy here, for example, like a scope option. Now, in the scope option, if I'm configuring a router details, I'm saying this is a router IP address is mean, router name is T, and IP address is 10.0.0.9. If I'm given here, any computer who has been associated with this scope, they will be getting that. I hope you're getting this point. Now, if I'm configuring a scope option, if any client who got an IP address from HR network, that client is being provided an additional information of a router along with the IP address. The reason it's been like you have been configured a scope option. Now, if you're configuring a server option, it will be applicable for all the scope which is being configured on that server. If you're configured H, or if you're configured multiple scope in a network, all that scope will be receive this additional details. That's called a server option. Now, in case if I'm configuring anything here, that will be configured with any kind of options here. So in case if I'm uh, pointing any kind of a any kind of options here, then that kind of a options on the Microsoft here. So in case if you want to do any kind of option, it's here, then that can be able to configure it here. Now, there are some situation like you have a configured reservation. Now, in case if you have a CEO or a CTO, or there's a printer only for that particular set of computer, needs to only that set of a computer, then you need to go for a reservation option only for one set of a computer. For example, like you have a 10 computers is available in your network, only for that 10 computer you need to pass some kind of information, then you may have to configure in a reservation level. So that is the way DHCP or a DNS kind of scope or a reservation options are generally it's been configured here. Now, any question from anyone? I hope it's been clear this about these options. Now, let me take you into the presentation. Now, DHCP option is nothing along with your DHCP value, additional options if you want to configure, that you can able to configure it here. So you have option for configuring additional DNS or additional options if you want, you can able to configure. This generally it's been applied in a 3 level. That's called in a server or a scope or a client level. It's been configured. Now, this has been already we have seen how this has been configured on inside. Now I got a question how to give a priority if you have a 2 DHCP server, Charida, that's been generally configured with the help of a authorization here. Now, in case if you want to authorize a server, you need to go to the servers. Right now you can able to see in the authorize the server option has been available here. And if your Active Directory has been configured in your network, you have an option to authorize. There is an option you'll be getting, option called authorize the server. You'll be getting added. Right now, I hope you can able to see manage authorize the server. You need to authorize the server. Now you have an option for authorization here. In a cloud scenarios, Microsoft is managing this one. So that's about in a cloud scenarios, even though if you're using on a cloud Charida, the authorization is the only option available in front of us. Now let's go back to the another options called clustering here. So right now, in case if you want to do any kind of a availability on a Microsoft side, generally we'll be using a two concept here that's called DHCP clustering. In the olden days, we used to configure clustering on in a Microsoft failover feature, right? We'll install a failover. On top of that, we used to configure a clustering. Now, in case if you want to do any kind of options here, if you want to configure any kind of a clustering, right now from the Windows Server 2019 onwards, you have a failover clustering feature is been available here. So you can able to go to Microsoft in the Microsoft DHCP console, you will have an option for configuring a cluster. Now, if you go to a clustering here, now if instead if you are in a cluster, you will have an option for configuring a cluster. Right now, you can able to see here what is the use of a clustering. If one DHCP server is being down, the second node will be acting as a failover mode. So it's been both will be synced each other. If you have a two DHCP server available in network, I'm just giving a scenario. It's like if your DHCP server is been down for a 10 days, the Indian network will be in a down scenarios, right? In the olden days, like when you're using a 2003 or a 2008 operating system, we used to configure DHCP clustering on top of the Microsoft failover cluster feature. But 2016 onwards, Microsoft is added this feature in the DHCP service itself. So what is the advantage here? If you're configuring a failover cluster, you can able to install two DHCP server. Right now, I don't have options here because I don't have any additional server here. So I can able to, I need a Active Directory to be available in the network. Now I'll be able to add additional servers here. Now, if I'm adding here, I can able to add a partner server. So this will be selected from your Active Directory database. Right now, I don't have any Active Directories been available here. That's the reason it's not showing. So if you have a Active Directories been available, we need to have a Active Directory to be available in the network. So I can able to decide who is my partner. So the all configuration will be shared between this partner server. So in case one server is being down, you can able to configure it. You will be able to fail over from the second server. So this kind of a concept generally known as a DHCP failover clustering. So if one server is being down, you will be able to manage or you will be able to configure it from the second option. So that's a way uh, that's the way it's been generally it's been working on. It's been on the cluster this one. No, we need a, it's mandatory that we need an Active Directory, Charida, because it's been working as a kind of a active passive, or it's been kind of active mode. Sandesh, generally it's been working. And without AD, you won't be able to do that because you need to ensure that both are using a same domain and you need to have that kind of information also is need. So generally Active Directory is one of the preliminary or prerequisites for configuring this DHCP clustering. So you need to have a domain controller to be placed or to be available in the network. Without that, you will not be able to configure it. Any other question from anyone? Yes, it is a active kind of mode. It can be kind of active mode. Now, database management, this is the next topic has been pending, how this is the database is being managed on the DHCP. And the DNS is the another topic, and Active Directory. So these three will be covered in the tomorrow. And any questions so far? If you're good, can you comment it on the chat window? So morning will be starting with the DHCP backup, and we'll be moving to DNS, and we'll try to conclude with the Active Directory also. Yeah, all the DHCP data, it's been automatically synced. So next portions may take some time. So better we'll start in the morning. How this DHCP database, how to take a backup, we'll be covering this one. Yeah, this is for the on-prem or even um, Azure VM if you're configuring Sandesh, or you can use the same one. In case I'm just giving a scenario like instead of using on-premises one, you have a you have configured your DHCP on Azure VM, and where if you are configuring DHCP, the same practice is generally doing. So any other question from anyone? I think we are good. Yeah. So thank you team, and Swarag, so you can just post the Discord link once again. So thank you, Swarag, for coordinating this event. And tomorrow morning, we'll be starting with the DHCP backup and DNS backup, and we'll be discussing about how Active Directory has been configured on you. So thank you, team. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.